Please go ahead.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. You know, for better or worse, I've been involved in higher education policy for a very long time, really my entire professional career. I've been involved in every Higher Education Act reauthorization one way or the other since 1986. And I can say without reservation that the next reauthorization, the one that you're now considering, will be the most consequential that I've seen by far. The fact is, American higher education is at a critical juncture. That means that the decisions that you make will be vital. They can set the stage for the next chapter in our national success story and build the foundation of talent that we need to power our economy and to strengthen our democracy. Now, the federal government is just one actor in the national talent development and deployment story of our country, but the Higher Education Act has certainly helped write that story during the second half of the 20th century. But of course, the 20th century is over. Here we are in the 21st century, and now things are quite different. So what's most different? Well, that's easy. Mr. Chairman, you made this point earlier. It's the students. Today's student is nothing like the student that the 1965 law and most of its subsequent iterations, or really higher education in general, was designed to serve. By and large, today's students are working. They're adults. They're low income, people of color, military veterans, and they have responsibilities and commitments that extend well beyond the classroom. It's becoming ever more clear that the nation needs a redesigned post-secondary education system, one that serves far more students, the highly diverse and often disadvantaged students in today's post-secondary programs, and serves them a lot better. By doing more and better, I'm convinced that we will all benefit by having a more talented society. So by taking a thoughtful approach to reauthorization, an approach that encourages innovation and supports student success, you can help immensely with this much-needed redesign project. As you approach this task, I suggest that you take 3 basic steps, all of them directly linked to the needs of today's students. These steps aren't sequential, but they are interrelated, and so we have to tackle them together. First, as you seek to encourage innovation, look to create policies that will support and expand clear pathways to high-quality degrees and other credentials. This means recognizing a wider array of post-secondary education providers, experimenting with new ways for students to earn credentials, and directing federal funds to the providers who best serve those students. Today's post-secondary system presents a wide range of learning opportunities, far more than were available to the students of the 1960s or 70s. Each of these levels of learning should be recognized. Given the reality of today's post-secondary landscape, the definition of provider must be broadened beyond the confines of what today we call an institution of higher education. That definition must include more online programs, competency-based education approaches, college corporate partnerships, as well as efforts to explore how libraries, apprentice programs, and community-based learning centers might be included in our post-secondary provider definition. Students need to be able to access new, high-quality, low-cost delivery post-secondary models and credentials. And changes in federal policy could aid immensely in that process. For instance, rules governing financial aid could be updated to allow students access to year-round aid, to pay for learning rather than just time, and to encourage accelerated programs to a degree or credential. The second step that you must take to foster innovation is to focus on educational quality. That means you must structure the system so that it focuses on outcomes, on actual learning, not on inputs such as time spent in the classroom. This is a critical conversation for all of higher education, but it's especially critical as you consider those new entrants to the marketplace. Finally, the third step in fostering productive innovation, and it's a critical one, you must take steps to address rising costs. New approaches to post-secondary education hold great promise in reducing costs, and they should be encouraged. But to maximize student success, college costs don't just need to be reduced, they need to be demystified. I urge you to use federal policy to make those costs more transparent, more predictable, and more accessible to students and their families. So I'm happy to explore each of these steps in more detail. Thank you very much for the chance to be here.